Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever in the world you are tuning into the Esports Awards Origins podcast from. I'm your host, Trevor Quickshot Henry, and Origins is the podcast where we talk to your favorite players, the best broadcasters, the most successful businessmen, and sometimes a combination of all three of the above. We want to get to know who they are, where they come from, and why are we talking to them today. It is my absolute pleasure today to welcome one of the most incredible, powerful voices in all of esports commentary. A man that is not only a fantastic speaker, but exceptionally skilled. I think he's the best commentator and player at his specific game, as well as being somebody who used to test video games like a real world job. It is my pleasure to introduce Demar Williams. You may know him as Dazerin to the broadcast. Daz, how you doing, my man?
That was like the best intro ever. Dude, this is such a full circle moment for me. I love it. I'm doing great. Thank you, Quickshot. I appreciate it.
The thing that I love so much, I have a lot of fun doing these intros because, dude, all I'm doing is reading your CV. All I'm doing is looking back at what you've done. So kudos to that. In case you're not 100% aware or you're new to Origins, the goal of this is to figure out, where did Demar come from? Before you became Dazerin, how did you get involved in gaming? What got you into esports? And I'm excited to explore your journey because it's quite different. Let's start with a simple one. What's your earliest memory of playing video games?
Oh man, I played video games since I was like a baby almost, like Sega Genesis when I was like literally like 5 or something like that. Just playing little games like Tom and Jerry. Then when I would go see my uncles, and then, they would be playing the games like the Maddens and the Golden Eyes, and they would ask me if I wanted to play. And I remember just sitting there thinking I was playing, but the controller was really unplugged, but I didn't care because I thought I was playing with them. And then as I, obviously games just kind of followed me as I got older. My earliest memories of online was actually, back then when you had like the dial up, there was no Wi-Fi. So I had to sit near the modem, and the only way I could do that is by this like little 9-inch portable travel screen my mom got me, and I would just have the PlayStation on top of it and just like play in the living room. And I was playing games like Call of Duty 3 and Lost Planet, and the earliest version of Rocket League Supersonic Acrobatic Rocket Power Battle Cars. I played the demo of that. Those were like, oh my god, okay,
hold up. First of all, you are the first person I've spoken to in my professional career that's talked about Lost Planet. Dude, I love you so much. That game, I can still see the cover art of that frozen planet. But yeah. PlayStation, American boy playing PlayStation, that's a bit of an odd one. Why not Xbox?
I think I always played PlayStation at home. Like I had a PlayStation 2, PlayStation 1. I still have my PlayStation 1. I still have my PlayStation 2. And then it was just natural that we got PlayStation 3. I got Xbox later after playing online, and then all my PlayStation friends would play games on Xbox and I couldn't play with them. So it took me a while. I got like the Halo Reach Xbox 360. But I think I'm still I'm still a PlayStation kid. Still got a PS5. It was
I applaud.
That's where I came from.
Let's talk very quickly about like school and lifestyle. I'm a couple years older than you, quite a few years older than you. And I know that I had to convince my parents to let me play video games. And the deal was I had to maintain my grades. So what was the situation for you like? You mentioned playing with family and uncles and stuff. So what was the family and gaming relationship like?
It was the same thing, but I kind of did struggle to hold my end of the bargain. I'll be honest. It was just my escape when I was younger. School life, I was definitely very smart in school. The only issue was I just never did my homework. Yeah, because I think I went to school and, it wasn't really like a popular kid in school. So I would just come home and I would just want to get on the game every time. So I definitely got my PlayStation taken away from me a couple times until I got myself together. But outside of that, that was kind of the thing. But I think my mom, she was very supportive of me playing video games because I grew up in the city of Chicago. And, I think her biggest thing was she just wanted to keep me out of any bad activities. So for her, me finding out that I was just a kid who would come home and get on his video game, I think that was honestly like a sigh of relief for her. So she was pretty supportive of it.
I can really, really relate to that. I mean, it's not comparable, but I grew up in South Africa. Let's just say there's a lot of parallels in terms of safety and the ability to go outside and like hang on the street in many areas where I grew up. And I'm making some bold assumptions about Chicago, so I'm aware. But I do love the honesty. I particularly appreciate that you're being earnest about schoolwork, right? Because let's talk. What's the plan? I know you become a freelance professional broadcaster many years after you've already done work. So you finished school. What was the plan? What was Demar going to do?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? The plan didn't even have anything to do with esports or gaming. The plan really was music. My dad was, he's a big time record A&R around that time for, it was Jive Records, then it turned into Sony Music. He was also a very big DJ around in the Chicago area. Hosted this he hosts this festival. He still hosts it to this day called the Chose a Few DJ House Picnic, and it attracts so many people all over the city. Has had so much support and love. And for me, I was always very passionate about music. Every time I played video games, I was always listening to music. In high school, me and my friends were trying to write music. We wanted to be recording artists for hip hop songs and rap, and that's kind of where we wanted to go at first. So when I first graduated high school, I got a part-time job at Best Buy, did that for a bit while I was saving up to get music equipment. But I stayed, obviously gaming was still my hobby and my passion. I had just started getting into gaming communities around that time, around Gears of War 3. That was the game I played a lot in. I got opened up to a gaming community with my friends, and we started doing that for a little bit, and I wanted a little bit more of that. So I always kind of if I wasn't working on music and if I wasn't just working at my job there, then I would play games and try to see if I could find another gaming community to kind of get involved into. And that's kind of what it's a perfect storm of things that kind of happened between the Best Buy thing, going from Best Buy to NetherRealm, and then from Rocket League coming out, all those things kind of happened because I didn't necessarily go towards it. My intention wasn't necessarily to do it at first. It just took over everything to where I just had to give it all my attention.
Dude, it's because of your voice. I mean, listen, I think you need to have a level of confidence or understanding. You're not going to get into music and start looking at rap and writing songs unless you know you can do something with your voice, right? You're aware that you've got some training, you've got some skills that leans to it. I'm starting to see a picture. Okay, we've got some job, we've got some school, we talked about gaming, but there's two things that you haven't touched on or explained to me yet. The first one is, let's talk about how you learn about esports, because it's clear that gaming was a part of your life from literally the day you were born, right? Like you were born in peak gaming era. I have a couple extra generations, like the NESs and the SNESs and whatnot. But when did you learn about MLG? I know you competed in Gears of War Online. I know you were in teams and stuff. So how much of the esports world were you aware of up until this Best Buy and NetherRealm days?
Wow, man, you're really bringing me back here because, oh man, I remember watching G4 and watching X-Play, and I would see, they would talk about Halo and stuff, and I think they had, what was the guy who was on the straight ripping team, T-Squared. And he would come on and they would, talk about MLG Pro. And I remember watching that on TV, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I would see go on the MLG website and see stuff, but I never knew how to get into it. Obviously, when I started playing Gears of War, I found out about game battles, and then I said, oh, okay, this is really cool. But then, you still wanted to get a bit more of the esports world. First major esports I think I watched was LCS. I think that was actually my first big one that I could follow and was all around. And that was after my friend got me into League of Legends around the time I was, I want to say 17, 18. So that's why, again, this is such a surreal, full circle moment for me, because League of Legends was actually the first one. I remember watching TSM with Dyrus and everything. And so me sitting here talking to you about this is whoa. But I think that's like the earliest thing I can remember.
Thank you so much. You're too kind. I appreciate it. And it is quite nice being able to, it's really nice being in this position where I've been able to see, League of Legends grow. I saw Rocket League when it debuted, and especially where Rocket League was from like 2015, 2016 to where it is now. It's wild how much that's grown.
Yeah.
Especially because I think I'm going to make an assumption here. It was the game that allowed you to kind of quit your job, really. Let's talk about this now, because I understand you learned among esports, early 2010s, you're playing online, you're seeing professional league. How does your commentary career start? What's the first time somebody goes, Daz, put the controller down and pick up the mic?
Again, it comes from this want of community, I think, for me. Like when I played Gears of War, we had a strong community. It was like a community and a community kind of thing. And I was able to kind of foster like a good group of people who wanted to hang out with me at a very young age. Because I think at 2010-ish, I'm around 14, 15. Yeah. So we were just we had a good group of people who loved getting on and playing, and it was great, but it didn't last forever. So when it fell out, I was constantly looking and searching for the next big thing. So then we kind of are fast forwarding a little bit to 2015 when Rocket League released. And when Rocket League came out, I'm not really, a part of anything, but I'm looking for something. And I remember always playing the first game with my friends. So I said, oh, guys, this game's coming out, but they didn't really seem too they seemed like, oh yeah, we'll play it, but they didn't want to play it that much. But I really wanted to play it. So I said, okay, let me go and try to find, another group or something. So I followed maybe 20 might be an exaggeration, maybe 10 subreddits about Rocket League. I still have all of them followed on Reddit today. Some of these Reddits still only have 40 to 100 people. Some of them have thousands of people, but I was just looking for, a way into the community. Where are people gathering to talk about this game? And I remember, I saw an ad on Reddit for a community, weekly community tournament organizer, and they were asking for commentators, and they said, even if you don't the thing that got me. Okay.
Give me a date or time frame here, because we got 2010, 2013, it's MLG, LCS. Rocket League comes out, I think it was 2015. I know that you're working at Best Buy. NetherRealm only comes in 2018, 2019.
Yes.
So when does this community tournaments fit into my timeline?
The community tournament is late 2015. I want to say late 2015. The RLCS had already started. And definitely late 2015 after the second world championship happened. So that might be 2015, not 2016. And like I said, I found this little community group, and they said they would teach me how to do it. So I joined, and they had me record myself, because I'd sit there and I thought to myself, okay, well, I already have a good microphone because I have one for music. Obviously, I like the game. I think I should be able to do this. And I had a PS4 at the time. And the way it was set up was I had a laptop with a microphone, and I was watching the game on my TV on a PS4, and that's how I was commentating. The setup was terrible.
Awesome.
It was terrible.
Awesome, no, but hang on. That's amazing, because look, it makes sense, because the one piece that I didn't know when I was looking into the dates and the timelines, and I'm like, dude, from how it looks to tier 1 research, it just looks like you were doing some things. You got hired by E-League, and then you got hired by RLCS. So it's bro, it just looks like you popped onto the scene. But it's really cool to hear that 2015, 2016, 2017, you start practicing, you start building up. So how did you find your voice?
Yeah.
How did you learn these skills, and how it's very different to making music?
Oh yeah, it is definitely. I mean, like I said, I still have that first recording. I've never listened to it. I think I'm gonna wait I'm going to wait a long time until I listen to it, but I still have that first recording of me commentating. It's a hidden video on my YouTube. And I plan on going back, but over time, it's one of those things where, the game, that community was so welcoming to me and accepting of me. just as I am as a person. And to me, that was like one of the greatest gifts you can give a person is like in a gaming community is just acceptance. So it like I wanted to just constantly give back. And I thought that, you know, doing my job to the best of my ability would be that way as terms of like maybe running some events and things like that. So as I was going through, I was like, you know, when you first do your first cast, it's like a big adrenaline rush. Then after you're done, you're like, man, I really want, like, that was crazy. I want to do that again. So you're just like, I mean, I hit up every community org on every day of the week and said, if you have, like, we don't have weeklies to this level anymore, but back then we had one for like every day. And I said, if there's something I can do and I'm like obviously not working, I want to do it. And I just kept throwing myself at it at first. But then there was a time where you needed to go from, you know, doing it for fun to like improving. And that's like, to answer your question, it was just, I studied a lot. I studied you guys. I studied like other esports. And I also watched real sports, and I still do that to this day, where like, it's kind of like a blessing and a curse. Cause it's like, you want to be able to watch an esports broadcast as a fan, but when you're doing it,
you can't turn it off.
Like, you can't, you pay attention to everything. I mean, what production is doing, did they turn this light on at this time, everything. Dude, so it's a little difficult.
Listen, you're speaking to my soul. You're speaking to my soul because I watch a lot of NFL. When I got into working at Riot, my boss was a big 49ers fan. My now wife, her dad was a 49ers fan. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to learn about the 49ers and then I can impress both of these like fatherly figures in my life. And I can't watch an NFL broadcast without looking at the graphics. Like seriously, Fox.
Oh, the score bug.
I'm so sick of it.
Oh my God.
I'm sick of the hand-drawn artwork. But what I do love is I listen to the broadcasters like Tom Brady. I have no reason to dislike him. I don't have any history, but as a player, I just came in and I'm like, I'm going to be on the I hate him side. And now I listen to him as a broadcaster. Dude's incredible. Listening to him, how he breaks down analytical points, looking at the files and the binders he has for prep. And I know it's promo and stuff, but it really helps me go, right, what can I take away from a game that's very stop-start? League of Legends is not like that. Rocket League is. You've got the stop-start, you've got the goals. So how did you find your voice? How did you stand out from the crowd? Because RLCS was running for a few years before you really became part of the crew.
You know, I think I realized that, you know, and I try to tell people this too when they like are super serious about esports is like I said, people accepted me for my personality and I decided to like use that. You know, I look back at some of my tweets, man, they're so cringe, but I was really goofy, you know, like really goofy and really like said that, you know, this is me. I know how to like, I know the ins and outs of a broadcast, you know, like a timing, you know, when to have this joke, when's a good time to have this joke, when not to, you know, when to try something new, when to, you know, just get there and do your job. It's actually funny when I joined, Collegiate Rocket League, which was like my big break. We did our first show. I was stiff as a board. I mean, I showed up, I had my notes. I was like this, and I was just going through the broadcast normal because I didn't want to mess up. That was my only thing. I was like, just don't mess up. Just don't mess up. They pulled me into a meeting after, and my talent manager at the time, Gilly, she's amazing, very great mentor to me. She said, I'll summarize it. She basically said, you know, Daz, we hired you because you were goofy, so we want you to be more goofy.
And I said, that amazing? Isn't that so amazing? Like, hey, we want you for you. Just like, I know it's hard to say, like, just chill, just relax. But to me, that sounds really earnest. That would give me confidence.
Yes, exactly. I asked her, I'm like, okay, wait, how goofy do you want me to be? Because I'm like, I can get goofy. And then she said, you go, and then we'll pull you back if we need to. And they never did. They never did.
That's amazing. And look, you didn't need to be pulled back because it goes from strength to strength. So let's talk a little bit about Daz. Let's talk about Dazerin and finding your voice in Rocket League, because a crucial thing that I'll say on your behalf, I know that you hit at least 1,850 MMR. I believe you got higher as well at your peak. So like you were legit good at this game. You're commentating while doing quality assurance at NetherRealm. And then you make the decision 21, 22-ish to go like full-time broadcast. Let's talk about that journey. What was it like balancing doing E-League, doing RLCS, doing events, and then being brave enough to pull the trigger and say, right, I'm doing this full-time now?
Yeah, it definitely was a questionable thing. Man, I actually love this. So, of course, definitely big shout out to NetherRealm. My stepbrother, he worked in the mobile department around the time where Mortal Kombat 11 was coming out, and then they needed people to do QA, and obviously he kind of knew I was doing things in gaming, so he reached out and said, would you want to, work at this game studio? He didn't tell me at first. And then I saw like the announcement. I said, is it for this game? He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So joined the team, and I learned a lot of stuff there too. I mean, it was a great team at the time. They had like ex-tournament players, and I loved fighting games, but I was never good at them. So there was one guy on the team. He would come over to my station after toward the end of the shift for the day, and we would play 1v1s, and I would get smoked every time. But throwing my head against that wall, it gave me that same kind of rush that I got kind of doing the esports thing. So I learned a lot about fighting games, and I still kind of carry it with me till today. But just the work-life balance of that was a little bit difficult. I definitely spent less time on Rocket League than I did on Mortal Kombat because it was my job to literally play the game. So I was doing that. But I spoke to them when I got hired, and I told them about, the events and me like traveling for events and things like that. And they were in full support of it. And I think that was like a big reason why things worked out so well, because they said, yeah, go do this. I'm a contract worker for like a certain amount of time. And then, towards I think you work like 9 months, and then there's like a grace period, and then they'll just do another contract with you. So I did that for about, I want to say like 2 or 3 years. But they were super supportive of anytime I had to go out to an event. I just gave them lead time, and then everything was fine as long as I just gave them the lead time, which I did. So that worked out really well. That is
so cool. I mentioned it before we started recording, but I've been very lucky to have these conversations with quite a lot of broadcasters. Some who are your peers, in fact, other titles. Talk to Counter-Strike, talk to Fortnite people, talk to Call of Duty people. I haven't met somebody else in our industry that's a QA or has that kind of developer type of thing. Yeah. Normally, you go from broadcast voice to then work developer. You kind of went the other way to a degree, which is cool. So how much were you, please excuse my language, how much were you shitting bricks when you said, I'm not going to do this contract again and I'm going to do commentary full time?
Yeah, that was scary. But I think one of the things, if you look at things like where my life is going to this point, I mean, it's really easy for like a lot of stuff I've done to be scary to someone else. I didn't go to college. I went straight to doing music after school. That's already a risk in itself. Then, you work into this, okay, you have something that's kind of stable, like you said, 9 to 5 kind of job, like that works really good. And you're doing esports. Esports is already like unstable in itself. And then you say you don't want to do this anymore and you want to do full-time esports. It was scary. It was very scary. But it was a feeling, I wanted to get more involved with what I was doing in NetherRealm on the esports side, but I didn't really see any room there. It kind of frustrated me. And I didn't want to be stuck like in one spot, like doing QA and things like that. I wanted to be able to learn more and find more avenues to grow. So in that, I said, okay, I'm not going to say I reached my peak there, but for me, it was like, okay, we're not moving in the direction I want to go in. I want to make a change. And at that time I had like a lot of work in Rocket League going, but we had just started our show. We were starting our show First Touch. And this is like, talk about a perfect storm, lightning in a bottle moment, because I remember I was talking to my mom and I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to quit. like this, it's just not working for me. And she's like, okay, well, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I'm starting this podcast with my friends. I think I'm going to just try to like lean into the content more and see where that goes. And she's like, okay, just gave me her support. But when I started the show, our podcast, First Touch, with myself, my friend Roldes, my friend T-Bates, we did a couple of episodes, and then I sent it to our contact on the esports team in Psyonix at the time, Corey. And Corey hit me up and said, like, literally, I think within 8 hours, messaged me and said, we need to have a meeting. Pulls me into a meeting and says, this show is like lightning in a bottle. We want to pay you to run your show on the official Rocket League channel. And then that was just boom. And then we did it. And the show, all of us just skyrocketed from there. But it was a risk, right? Like to answer your question, it was definitely like a scary kind of risk at the time, jumping into the unknown. But I've always felt like when you do something like that, like it's one of the best things you can do as a person, because it gets unsettling. I've always felt like, some of the best growths you can have in life are when you're the most uncomfortable.
I will tell you this. I genuinely zoned out and forgot that I have to be professional just listening to the story for 2 reasons. Number one, the details are awesome. Like hearing the confidence, the bravery, also the fact that like you get this call from Psyonix so quickly. But the second reason, it seems to me like you may have found a calling. Like you're just so compelling and charismatic to listen to and exciting. I literally forgot that I have to do another question. And I'm like, wait. And I was like, no, but hang on, let's just share that. Because the second thing I'll say is this is now the second or third time that you've mentioned your mom in terms of your career, your mom maybe being critical of gaming, but also supporting because it kind of keeps you off the streets, not harm's way. And now you're kind of famous. Dude, what does your mom think of her son's journey over the last 30 odd years?
Oh man, my mother's been so big in my life. And the thing is, like you said, she's been there every step of the way. And for her, it's definitely been an experience. I think, at first she was a little critical because, how do you tell somebody? And this is something I haven't even shared. Like there were times where I was working at Best Buy and I really wanted to go to like esports events like DreamHacks, and I barely had money. And I would tell her, I would lie. She would ask me if I'm getting paid to go there, and I would say no. I would say yes, but the answer was no, because I was just going so I could volunteer to be on main stage, so I could do something there. But then also I would go over and hang around the admin desk for the Rocket League event that was going on. It was DreamHack Atlanta. What was it? It was like 2018 or something around there. It was the one that if the viewers watch, the one Muffin Man won. I predicted like pretty much they had a Smash GG competition. I won the prediction contest. I was so locked in. Awesome. We had Monster sponsoring the main stage, where the players are playing in the Rocket League area, but I'm over by the main stage. I would go up to some of the players and the team managers and say, hey, like some of them knew me, some of them didn't, but I would just say, hey, like, how are you guys doing? Like, I got some monsters over there if you guys want some. And I would take the monsters from over there and then go give them to the players, because I wanted to build a relationship. I wanted to be able to talk to them and learn more about them and things like that. And it's so crazy thinking about all those people that were like at that event at that time and where people are now. But it was a lot of passion, but that grew into something. And then for me, we had our first LAN back from COVID in LA at the YouTube Theater, and I flew my mom, my sister out to be at the event. And it was so surreal. We had our desk outside. Our show was like the pre-show. They called it the First Touch pre-show. We still do that till this day. But we had that outside. So it was so nerve-wracking because we were the voices here at like a LAN event. And I had never done anything like that. So I was like, whoa, see that. And witness that and witness the crowd of people who are sitting outside around us to the point where we have to tell them to go inside. The matches are about to start. And then after that to happen and for her to, think that she can walk up to me, but then she still has these videos on her phone from that event and from all these other events of people stopping me, asking for pictures and autographs. It changed everything. I remember walking up to her in the crowd and said, "How are you liking it?" She said, "That's like basketball, but for nerds." I love that.
I love that so much.
But she loved it. And not only did she not just love it, she got invested in it. There are players, I think most of them, no, some of them are still playing and then some of them are retired, but she knows them now because, I can bring her backstage and, around and we'll walk around and, she goes to events and people see her and they're like, "Oh my God, you're here." They're more excited to see her than me sometimes. But it's just
That's awesome.
It's that, that love is fostered. And now she, it's rare that she doesn't go to an event versus now, I'll be flying to Paris in a couple days actually. She'll be flying to Paris. She'll be at the World Championship. She's a part. It's you almost expect to see her when I'm showing up somewhere. They'll ask, "Where's your mom?" I'm like, "Yeah, she's here." "Oh, she can make it this time because of flights and stuff." Okay, we'll get her next time.
Do you know what I love so much? I apologize about kind of 100% revealing your age here, but first of all, happy birthday. It was a big milestone back in February. And I just love the idea of visualizing what your mom and dad must think of your first 10 years on this earth. Then the next 10 years and be like, well, we don't really know what's going to happen. And now the last 10 years, dude, 20 to 30 has been a roller coaster for Demar Williams and the family. I'm aware of that.
Yes.
The second thing I'll add on to this as well. RLCS has obviously been going for a while now. I will say as a non-Rocket League viewer, it seems to be in its peak in the last couple of years. That's my opinion. I think there's more hype. I see there's more teams. There's more competition. I don't know. It's breaking out of the Rocket League bubble, at least in the last couple of years. What we do on this podcast at the end of every episode is we ask the guest that we're speaking to nominate somebody who we should have a conversation with next and generally say why they would like to do that. And I'd like to let you know that Stax was the gentleman that actually said that we need to speak to Dazerin. And it was Stax that also mentioned your mum, to be honest, and said it's heartwarming, it's endearing, it's beautiful. So that question comes directly from him.
That's awesome.
I'll use that as my segue to go, tell me about RLCS. Tell me about your inception into the team and the relationships that you've grown, obviously with a special shout out to Stax as well.
Yeah, of course. I mean, me and Stax have been working together for 10 years now. Jesus. Yeah. Oh man. And it's Stax and I have a very special relationship. When you work with somebody for that long, I remember we were doing B Stream. It was a DreamHack Montreal. We were the B Stream. We were working 8-hour days. We were the desk. We were the casters. We were everything. And for us to be able to work that long and make it to where last year we did the World Championship Grand Finals. I mean, that was definitely a dream come true. But to kind of talk about everybody else on the team, I mean, those guys have been my friends for so long because we all knew each other and came up together in a way. Some of them I knew before they made it to the RLCS. Oh, excuse me, Stax included. Some of them were already in the RLCS, but we just became good friends. And our relationship on the team, especially in our kind of, I want to say COVID and after COVID years were just very group based, family based, because we all wanted to work together to, have the best show possible. And I still commend the team so much for that. There are relationships where, some guys who aren't on the team anymore, I've gone to their weddings. I still kind of check in on people from time to time and see how they're going. We all care about each other still very much to where, this was something where you had a group of friends who all worked with each other. And yeah, it wasn't. It's not perfect. It's never perfect. You know, you get some disagreements and things like that. You know, because it's life. Everybody has
healthy
their own
relationships and healthy teams and healthy colleagues are ones that do have disagreements. It's like how you grow and things. I will ask one specific one. I got to spend a lot of time with Gibbs, and he gives off such dad energy. Is he still dad energy all the time?
Yes. Gibbs is still dad. You know, love Gibbs because I've been bugging him a lot more recently too. Just like play games and things like that. But yes, no, Gibbs is still he's still dead. Yeah. He's still dead. Dude, I was a little bit mad he beat me in a show match, but it is what it is. Yeah.
Hey, listen, you can get lucky, right? A broken clock is right twice a day, right? Like that's what it is. It's one of those like lucky hits. Right. Let's talk about Rocket League because we've danced around it quite a lot. I want to hear, Mr. Williams, what does your heart say when you think about the game? And you think about where you are and what the game means to you as a human being.
Wow. Oh, man. It's special. It's special. It's one of these things where, you know, it's truly unique. And I think the people who are behind it are very passionate. And it's that passion that goes behind the game that's so big to me. It's just being able to like I said, there's no transferable skills on the Rocket League. You know, every other game you could probably find like something where you can find a transferable skill, but Rocket League's not like that. Even commentating it is not, you know, it's like you said, fast paced compared to some games having like a lot of slowdown time. And for me, it just always felt like home. Like Rocket League has always felt like home to me. And, you know, I get on and you know, like you said, I play the game a lot. I still play the game every day. I stream the game as much as I can because me getting better at the game helps me do my job. But at the same time, it's just like I Q ranked and I see all these people say all these nice things. And I look back at this game that I enjoyed playing all these years ago and I see, you know, where I am now. I have a title in the game. They did a event in the game. I've done 2 show matches one at a world championship, the other at a major. I feel like I haven't been able to properly sit and look back yet. And I'm okay with that because I want to look back when, you know, it's all said and done. But I know like there will be a lot of tears because I'm so proud of everything that I've gone through with this game, everything it's given me, how it's changed my life. And, you know, I feel eternally like blessed for that. And I love it. I want to see it grow as much as possible. I do think that it can truly like shock the world and be something that a lot of people watch. And I want to be there when it happens.
I mean, dude, I think from my perspective, it seems like you're living the dream already. And I definitely want to make something clear, right? Whenever I ask that question, it always brings up nostalgic vibes. It always brings up kind of retrospective vibes, but you were still so young. And even though you've been around for a decade, let's be frank, this has been professional full-time for 5 years. I'm sitting here, I've got like 13 or 14 years under my belt. Trust me when I say the ride just doesn't stop, dude. And the thing that I love so much, I can hear the passion. I can hear how excited you are. I can hear the genuine feelings for a game. I think that's what is really important for anybody who does broadcast work. Where do you find your passion from? Does it wane? Do you ever flirt with other games? You know, how does that motivation stay fueling Dazerin?
Man, so today the passion comes from the fans. The passion definitely comes from the fans because I see how much they talk about things. I see what they want. And I sometimes, even when we're like planning our show, we got to figure out what they want without them saying it. So then, you know, that gets a little tricky sometimes. Has it waned? I mean, there's this thing where, you know, and when you come up as a commentator, you always want to cast a grand final, like a big land grand final. I remember doing my first one. It was a major grand final in San Diego. And I thought it was the best day ever. I was on the moon. I was like, I didn't think life could get any better than that. And then I woke up the next day. And then when I woke up the next day, I said, what now? And then you have to figure that out. And then you're like, okay, well, you know, I really want to do a major. Like, I didn't really plan on doing a world one, but that was cool. But then I got to do a world's grand final. And I knew really early about it. So then that was like my focus. And then we did that. And then that was, and again, another like super peak. It's like, wow, this is great. Like, oh my gosh, I did this. then you wake up the next day. And then it's like, okay, now what? And then you have to navigate that because you've kind of like hit that, you know, kind of big milestone in your career. What's the next thing? What do you want to do? And I think right now I'm exploring this currently, but the way I've taken it is I feel like I've been unlocked, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm actually on the next stage of like growth in terms of like my trajectory as a commentator, because now I've shown the world I can do the thing, right? I can do this. So now I don't have that pressure on me anymore. It's not a pressure because I know I can do it and I've proven that. Now it's like, okay, we can really kind of let loose and really experiment and really see how much we can take this thing. And that's what I've been doing. You know, I've been competing in tournaments in Rocket League and understanding things from a player perspective a little bit more. And that's been able to help me out. I've been watching, like I said, a lot of sports commentary and like trying to take things, and I'll get on a broadcast and I might sound completely different on one than the other, but that's because, okay, this one, I want to try to like emulate this guy, and this one, you know, I love Kevin Harlan. Like, let me see if I can channel some Kevin Harlan in here or something like that. So that's been like pushing me as well to like change up my style and see like what can I make work. But and in terms of the other games, I mean, I really like Valorant a lot, and I've been working with some coaches to give me like a lot of game sense, and then like a couple of players here and there. But I mean, Rocket League still, like I said, still where home is. So I've just been kind of like lightly like looking at that from here and there.
Listen, don't lightly flirt with it fully. You've got a great voice for it. Like the goal setup and like, you know, playing around a ball, scoring a goal, then there's that natural downtime. Like it's a pretty natural transition to go from the highs in a round and then a round starts again, right? That kind of rhythm, because it's so different to like League of Legends or Dota. You should practice it, because I'd love to listen to you in Valorant. Seeing as though I'm pitching you another game that I think you should just add to your repertoire. What does the future hold for Daz? What direction are we going in outside of just developing your craft?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things, right? Obviously, you know, you want to see what you brought up, like the Valorant, like how do other games look? Because I've been kind of doing this one thing for a very long time, and although I'm very good at it, it's like, okay, I want to be able to work more in that space in some way. I used to love running tournaments, and I would definitely strive to like run unique tournaments, but being a tournament organizer is very difficult. And I do love all my tournament organizers because, you know, getting sponsorship money and that's a lot. But if I can't do that, then I'm definitely experimenting this year with trying to do things more on like content side, whether that's like making more esports content, YouTube videos, because I feel like there's a lot of room in the scene for that. A lot of times we're having people like, oh, this is my opinion on this team, but I want to do like breaking down more replays and interviews with players. Really love interviewing players, so I want to like put that more to the spotlight. And then I feel like there was one more thing. What did I say? The games that I think. Well, I think we can sit.
Listen, I'll be honest. It sounds like a pretty full plate already, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Esports Awards. If you ever need help promoting it or giving a shout out, let us know. I don't work for Esports Awards, but I know for a fact they'll want to help.
Okay, that is good to know. That is definitely good to know. But yeah, it's like one of those things where like, you know, just trying to like grow myself in as many avenues as possible. I still want. I do have this drive to improve my commentary so much. Like I'm always looking for different ways to like change that. And like I said, so it's like a mix of like doing that, improving my commentary, trying to see what avenues that'll lead me to, what different opportunities that'll give me. And then, you know, trying to also make me as like an individual have its own legs to stand on, especially kind of like during like esports downtime. Like I want people to like look forward to things that I'm putting out too.
The thing that I really, really appreciate about what you just said, and it's crucial for any young talent or any newer team members to any game, any company, any job, milestones are hugely important. Milestones are something to work towards, are something that can drive ambition, but milestones don't give you consistent happiness. Once you've ticked a box, that's not where contentment comes from. And I was in the same boat as you. I wanted to get big international finals and I wanted to do big stadium casts, but I had to learn, I had to digest internally, like, what is it that's going to make me happy? It's one of the things I really want to call out. It's one of the things that I really talked a lot to anybody that I help mentor or train. And it's just great to hear from somebody who, relatively speaking, is still very young. I know in the Rocket League scene, you may be in that like middle age now, because there's a couple older than you, there's a couple younger, but it's great to hear you saying that at 30. So
yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, well, okay. Compared to the guys, I think I'm still younger for the guys. I think it's like me, and then T Bates, I think, might be younger than me.
Yeah, but bro, come on, let's talk about the players. Let's talk about the players now. Hang on. Rocket League is bigger than just the broadcast team.
Yes,
bro,
that is true.
You're an unk to the players. Come on.
I am unk to players. I'm unk in more ways than one too. Oh my God. They used to way back when COVID was first ending, I gotta tell this story. The players would want to go on trips and they would want to like do a trip and get like a big Airbnb, but they didn't have, they were old enough to rent an Airbnb. So then they would hit me up to be like, yo, we'll send you all the money. Can you book it, please? Can you book it? I'm like, okay. So then I'd have to book it. And then I'm like,
so brave. That's so
I traveled too. I'm like, I'm going on this trip too. I'm like, I'm a chaperone. We had no shenanigans. I rented a minivan. I got these kids in a minivan. We're like, all right, we're going to the beach today. I'm cooking dinner tonight. I felt like I was a
dad energy already. I love it.
I was already like pure energy to those kids.
Listen, Unk Daz, we're nearly wrapping up our conversation. And one of the things that I like to do, because my nickname is Quickshot, I like to end with some quickfire questions. I'm going to throw questions at you, and it's up to you to decide if you answer in one word, one sentence, one paragraph, right? But I'm just going to hit you with the questions, and I'm going to start with one. What is your favorite Rocket League moment that you have ever casted?
Oh, that's too hard. What? Favorite?
Yes. What's the first one that comes to mind? I'll simplify it. What's the first one that comes to mind?
Okay, when the World Championship Grand Finals. Like, what was? Do I have to pick the exact moment?
Tell me why. Okay, tell me why. Tell me why. Yes, give me one. Give me one exact moment so I can clip it out on socials.
Oh, exact moment is when the ball hit the ground and I said NRG, the kings of the North are the kings of the world. I love that. I love that so much. It was so good.
What a great win moment. Dude, I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
Okay. Who is the hardest player or team that you've had to commentate?
Oh, God. Player or team? Hardest player or team to commentate? That's kind of tough. I think it's it's a matchup. It was like Twisted Minds versus G2 or NRG because they both had players who had the name Atomic. One was Atomic with a K, one was just regular Atomic. So that was kind of hard. I was like,
as a musical artist, which library was your favorite that you ever had to perform in?
Whoa. How did you find that? Whoa, you do not share that with anyone. Oh my God. Oh man.
Okay, we'll move on. Let's keep this safe. Let's not dox you. The moment was good enough. What is your favorite Mortal Kombat character?
Scorpion. Very simple. I've made Scorpion the entire way.
A caster that you love working with?
I mean, Stacks is the easy answer there.
If you could win any tournament as a player, which one tournament do you wish you could win?
Well, I mean, I could say like a world championship, but honestly, even if I won a regional, that would just do so well. Everybody would love me. They'd be like, wait, Daz won a regional? What? So
if you think of any player or any team in the history of Rocket League that you would be able to cast in a grand final, your dream Rocket League grand final, any era, which teams will be or players would they be?
Oh, okay. I can do multiple. That's fine. Definitely shout out to the General NRG because I was backing them so hard. I would have wanted them to win that year. That would have been great. SSG what was it? Was it Reynolds, Arsenal, Sipical? I think that team for sure. And then I would probably say Carmi Corp last year with Fatira, Atto, and Drali, because they were a really good team. They should have been in the final.
I like that. And regionally as well, you've got a nice NA org, a nice EU org. That looks good to me.
Yeah.
Des, I'm going to say thank you so much, dude. It really has been a energizing conversation. One last thing, just before I ask you to make a recommendation, where can people find you? What are your channels? What are your socials? Let's do a little self-promo. Okay,
cool. Yeah. Definitely on Twitter at iDazerin. I'm so mad I can't get actual Dazerin, but it has to do. My Instagram is kind of like half professional, half personal. So you could choose to follow that if you want to. Anytime I go to Atlanta, I always post a lot on my Instagram story. So I tell people, hey, if you want to look at things and get like little fun nitbits, then go there. I stream on Twitch. My chat has been doing God's work and trying to get me to stream 5 days a week, and I've been trying my best. It's not going to happen these next couple of weeks because I'll be out of town, but I'll still be doing that. And then, of course, if anybody has like anything that if you ever want to ask me a question, my Discord is going to be the best way to do it, and you can find that like on my Twitch page. It's like real easy.
I love this. So RLCS 2026 major is in Paris. If you want some behind the scenes stories, follow Daz's Instagram. Very last question. If you were to nominate any one person in any industry of esports for me to interview next, who would it be and why?
Wow. Oh man. Well, I think I would have to go with T Bates, because I've known Bates for a very long time. We kind of blew up together with the show, First Touch. And I think that, his journey and him balancing working in law school while also, being an RLCS analyst, while also being such an impactful like figure in the scene because he was so loud. He's so loud. I think that would be a great conversation. It would actually be, because it is noted.
He's a guy. I've passed that recommendation on over to the folks at the Esports Awards. Des, thank you so much for your time, man. I hope you have a lovely day. I hope you enjoy your travel to Paris and have a great major.
Thank you. I wish you well as well. Thank you guys so much. It was amazing.
The pleasure was absolutely mine. And of course, that does it for this episode of Esports Awards Origins, a podcast. We have a whole bunch of more interviews somewhere on this YouTube page or Twitter, or you know where to find it. Click it. We'll be back soon with another episode.